Welcome to the Genesis Healthcare Podcast, where we go beyond the traditional office visit to explore what it truly means to live with optimal health. Each episode brings you candid conversations with our Genesis providers and featured guests from across the health and wellness space, covering everything from primary care and prevention to aesthetics and lifestyle optimization. Whether you're ready to take control of your health through a Genesis membership or explore treatment options to look and feel your best, we're here to guide you every step of the way. Ready to begin your journey to better? Visit thegenesisdifference.com to schedule your first appointment or aesthetic consult today.
Very good. Well, welcome to the Genesis Podcast, Ben. I'm here with Ben Ezell.
Yes, sir.
And I would like for Ben to go ahead and start an introduction of himself.
Okay. Well, thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here. So, again, I'm Ben. Started here at Genesis, I guess as a PA in August of 2024, but not new to Genesis. Been here. Right. I bothered you for a long time before I went to PA school. So I got to get all of my medical experience here at Genesis, so I haven't been anywhere else. So I definitely, I love how we do things here. I've grown into this place, and it's grown into me.
Sure.
So it's been really cool as, part of my medical experience, using Genesis as that. So yeah, I grew up in Alabama. I went to the University of North Alabama. I played college football. I originally wanted to go into physical therapy.
Right.
Got the coaching bug.
As we all did.
As we all, yeah,
all ball players wanted to go into physical therapy and coach and teach. Yeah. Right.
So I got the coaching bug. Ended up, changing course there. Coached some high school ball there, and then got to, I was blessed to be able to come up here to East Tennessee State. Coached a little bit at ETSU. Did it for a little while longer and at a couple of junior colleges. Ended up down in Mississippi, and then figured out I wanted to do something else with my life.
And that was get out of Mississippi.
That was get out of Mississippi.
Right. Well, you already got out of Alabama.
I was like, I went all the way across the South. And, so I came to Tennessee. Yeah. It was great. It was a blessing to come here. Met my wife here. This became home.
Yeah.
She's a local gal. So when I came back, decided I wanted to do something else. I got into sales. Again, athletes, we can either do physical therapy or we can sell stuff. Did that, and it just didn't fill my heart.
Sure.
It wasn't exactly what I was looking for. And I actually met you, and I actually still remember coming over here with a notebook. Just wanted to ask you questions, and I laughed because first question you asked me was, "Are you sure you want to do this?" Now I look back, I'm like, "Am I sure?" No, I love it. It was great. But then got the opportunity to work here, get my experience, and then went to PA school and was blessed to be able to come back. Was obviously a student here with you.
Sure.
I did 3 rotations here. Best rotations out of any of them. You get to do more here as a student. You get to learn more. You get to be involved, which is really different than a lot of rotations. So loved it.
Well, I love to be able to teach and actually what I get to do with my students is I get to vet you all.
Absolutely.
I get to vet you all, and I get to know your heart first, and then I get to learn your brain.
Yes, sir.
I did say that for you, I knew that your IQ had improved because you crossed the state line from Alabama to Tennessee.
Automatic 10-point.
Automatic 10-point improvement by moving to Tennessee. So and of course meeting your wife was that's an IQ boost too. So that was fantastic. So yeah, and explain a little bit as a provider for everyone to discuss, or for us to discuss a little bit about why we have the freedom and why we are able to do the things that we're able to do here at Genesis.
Absolutely. First off, I do think it's the people. I mean, you mentioned that, vetting us, and that's half jokingly, but it's true.
Right.
I think we all have a heart, to serve people. We all make mistakes. We're not perfect, but I think we care, and I think that makes a huge difference. Not that there's not people in traditional Western medicine that that don't care. We know it's a broken system, but here
they don't have the time to care.
They don't have the time to care. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we do have that here. What a blessing to be able to spend time with people and you get to know their families, you get to know them, they get to know you.
Right.
I mean, I have patients come ask me, how are your kids doing?
Right.
I'm like, did we talk about my kids? I think it's cool if they even remember that. You get to, like I said, you just get to care about somebody. We get the freedom to, know someone and know what works with them. And I kind of relate this to coaching. I mean, you got a background in coaching too. There's players you had to put a foot in their. Can I say that, Jordy? you had to put a foot in their ass, some of these people, and then there's others you got to put your arm around the shoulder and love them,
right?
To get them to do what you want them to do.
And it's both love.
It is.
It's loving them the hard way.
A lot of people don't always believe that. They think,
right.
But
I didn't feel loved until later.
Me neither. It's like this is love.
I was like, man, there's a lot of tobacco on my face mask. I don't understand this.
There's a lot of. Yeah. Pretty sure my head coach created cuss words when he was yelling at me, but I think that's a cool part of what we get to do. We get to learn the person. You get to you get the freedom to treat them as a human and learn what works to get them to get where you want them to get to or where they want to get to.
Well, and as ball players and athletes, I think we understand our body and to a certain degree, and then we let it go. We let it go once we're playing ball. We get done playing ball, and then some of the drive that I've got is really comes from the ball field.
Yes, sir.
And it's a lot of it is, I want to be better.
Yes, sir.
I want to be better than everybody on the field.
Absolutely.
Right? And I'm going to work harder at that. And I need my body for my patients, and I think that's something that I really saw in another ball player, and something that we can emulate, like our own lifestyle, and then pass that on to the people around us. Now, we don't expect everybody to be ball players,
sure,
but it's something that I'd like for you to maybe discuss a little bit of the reason why ball players, for like you and I, history of ball players. That we can try to do those physical things for people, and even as a transition, talk about the fasting and the reasons for fasting.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I do think your background as an athlete. I mean, we can talk about the obvious ones. You learn you better be gritty. You better be able to push through adversity, and like I said, a lot of times we had somebody kicking our butt to make us when we were working out. We were going through conditioning, so a lot of times you got to be a little bit of a robot.
Right.
But you did. You learned how to take care of your body and how to recover. I will say I did not learn. I knew how to eat, but I was eating I was eating a bunch of calories because I'm going to burn those calories off.
Right.
You get out of playing sports and try to do that, it doesn't work so well.
Yeah, having it your way right away doesn't work.
No. So that was a learning experience. On the other end was, hey, I gotta really take care of my body nutritionally and after sports and physically. I mean, just being active. It doesn't mean you gotta, like you said, we're not expecting to be an athlete. I'm never going to play a football game the rest of my life, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah, right.
I'm not sure I actually want to. But just it was a great experience. Like, I feel like a lot of the skills you learn from playing sports, just it correlates to this and how we do know how our body works, and we can share that knowledge with a patient. And like I said, you mentioned fasting. What a great tool, and it is a tool. I want people to know this is a tool. It's not a fix to everything. It works in conjunction with good nutrition and
sure,
and moving. I think movement is medicine. It also has a spiritual component, which I think is really cool. It's the most important part. If I really want to be honest, I mean, it's number one. It comes straight from the word. So
right, the spiritual is the important part of our health, right?
But to me, I mean, I think using those tools, like again, going back to fasting, when you use it in conjunction with eating whole foods, and that's meat. You won't hear that meat is bad here at Genesis. We'll never get into that.
That's good. We like beef.
we love beef. Right?
Yeah.
No, you're not a fan of chicken, which I get that. But any of those, eating whole foods, potatoes, and when that's needed, right? When you can handle those carbs and when you're doing those things, fasting is just a tool. I'm kind of getting off tangent here. Sorry. But going back to fasting, like I said, it's a tool. Something I utilize with patients, and I actually, I'm gonna tie this into GLP-1s real quick, but it's all the craze, right? Everybody's been on TikTok forever now, and everybody
TikTok
wants
sensations.
and even fasting may have its own little TikTok phase. I mean, everybody has their own kind of opinion on fasting and how to do it and how to not do it. I think it's important for patients, to understand it's kind of how you should do it in conjunction with a provider, and it should be monitored, and the labs we should check, and exactly how to do it in a safe way to accomplish a goal. And I use for patients. I mean, if you step upstairs, if I have patients come in and they talk about GLP-1s, one of the first things I'm going to do, and it's kind of a test. Are you willing? Are you willing to do some diet changes, and that includes fasting? Because if you're not willing to do those things, I'm not going to use a GLP-1 with you.
Yeah. Well, so many people, I think, just use it as an easy button.
Absolutely.
They're like, "Can you give me something to sew my lips together?" And so I starve myself, and I don't eat anything the rest of my life, and I get skinny. I'm like, "Yeah, you can look like Charles Barkley in the NCAA tournament, man." I was like, "Oh, Charles, you need to get some muscle mass back on."
Charles Barkley, by the way, has the biggest head
right.
of any human on the planet. Love Charles Barkley.
Yeah.
Love you, Charles. But anyways, they saw him in person one time. I was like, that is a massive noggin on that guy.
But I do think that a lot of people use us and medicine a lot of times as the easy button.
Yes, sir.
And so if that's one of the reasons why I started backing off of using GLP-1
Yes, sir.
For a while, because everybody was it was a TikTok sensation, and I couldn't see myself on that bandwagon. I actually got off of it.
I remember that.
I tell people, I said, I wrote more GLP-1s than anybody in the state of Tennessee at one time, given the numbers, back when Victoza was out. But, I just was like, I'm sorry. Nobody's talking about, the liver. Nobody's talking about losing muscle mass. Nobody's talking about, nutrition. And so nutrition is a huge part of how we actually use medications.
Yes, sir.
We can actually reformulate medications and repurpose medications when you do dietary changes. So a lot of that is, with the fasting part of our nutrition, it's a reset button, and it's also something that we can utilize with medications, and like you said, you have to be in conjunction with one of the providers that actually knows what these medications can do.
Absolutely.
And what your nutrition can do. Because if you just say, hey, let's just fast today, and you're still taking your fast acting insulin, because it's going to be one of those things where you're like, you might want to get, like a continuous glucose monitor or things like that 100%. To actually watch your blood sugar and watch how things are going and ease into fasting. So let's just describe a little bit about like what fasting, why should you fast?
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned the reset button. I think it's fantastic and I even do this personally. If I've kind of had a run where I haven't ate as well, my son, if he wants to, I'm not going to be too good to eat some ice cream with him.
Right.
But ice cream hurts my stomach. Just does.
I like it.
I like it too. It tastes delicious, but it's one of those things. I know at that point I probably need to fast, and that is a reset button for me. I know my gut will feel better after I get through a little period of fasting. And you can, there's different periods of fasting, right? There's intermittent fasting. There's a extended fast. You can really kind of, it's kind of it's not cookie cutter, right? You can make it fit to the person. A 2-day fast, a 3-day fast. I think there's even some research about a 7-day fast and what it actually does for you. I believe you told me about that as a student.
I think Boston had a study on that, reducing your risk of all causes of cancer by crazy amounts.
Okay, I knew it was something really cool. But just using that, I mean, how cool! It's just there's different lengths of fast, and they can all help with different things. It just depends on the person. But I think fasting, I mean, like I said, going back to it's a reset button. It's a chance to kind of it's not to starve yourself, right? I mean, that's not the idea behind it. It is to get to a goal. You want to feel better. You may want to lose weight. You may want to decrease brain fog, and that kind of goes with feeling better. But to go at a common complaint that we get, with brain fog, fatigue. I mean, all of those things. What are you chasing?
Right.
With fasting, and I've used it for myself in all those instances.
Yeah.
If I'm still fighting through some sickness right now.
Oh yeah.
Doing a little fasting, and it's just allows my body to heal, to focus on what it needs to focus on.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to stay hydrated. You want to keep minerals, you want to keep water. I know it's a big part of your practice as well. But I think it's important. When you think about fasting, like what are you trying to accomplish? What's the goal?
Right.
Is that
Yeah. And so for people who are new to fasting, let's just go ahead and talk about like what happens at different times during a fast.
Absolutely.
Because I think a lot of people think of fasting is like, oh, I can't.
Yeah.
I just have to. I just have to.
Sure.
I can't go without my cream in my coffee, or I can't go without my this, or I can't go. And I'm thinking, I'm like, well, do you want to just stay unhealthy, or do you want to reset?
Sure.
Like let's kind of give some data, nerd out just a little bit on like what happens during different hours of fasting.
Okay. Yeah.
So like, my last meal is at 8 o'clock at night.
Okay.
Right. My last caloric intake is at 8 o'clock at night, and that starts my my fast.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely. So yeah, I mean, so you get to a period in time you want to start it. You eat, and then so your body's going to use what you've given it for fuel before you ever get to the good stuff.
Right.
It's going to use that for fuel. It's going to break that down. Get glucose. And the liver's not really kicking in at that point. Producing glucose
After you eat.
After you eat. So it's your body's using what you've put in your belly. And after a period of time, there's some we can look at different timelines. I know if you really want to get into that 0 to 4 hour period, anabolic phase, body's using that material you've given it.
Ice cream.
Belly starts to bloat. It's using it. Yeah, so that 0 to 4 hour period, I mean, your body's using what it's taking in, and you can even, I've seen a couple of different timelines, and if it makes it more simple for people, that kind of that 0 to 12 hour period, kind of like what we use for labs.
Right.
You stop eating at 8, come back at 8. So just for maybe some simplicity purposes, 0 to 12 hours, your body's using what you've given it.
Right.
And then you get to a point when that starts to shift. All right, your body no longer has that material, so it's and you may get a little hungry, right? I mean, you're used to eating. When you wake up, I mean, a lot of people, just because we're trained that way, they think, oh, I got to eat breakfast or whatever. And a lot of times they're actually just thirsty,
right.
Which I think is pretty cool. Something we can talk about. But that period when it shifts, and then your body, the liver does start to kick in as far as providing any glucose that's needed.
Right.
And then your body starts to eat itself. As
right.
We'll use that term.
The autophagy.
The autophagy.
Right. Buzzword.
Senescent cells, like I said, zombie cells. You hear a lot of different terms for it, but your body it shifts your body into a mode where it's able to clean itself or heal itself. I love using the word heal.
Right. Sure.
It's kind of what it does.
Yeah.
I think knowing when that period kicks in and kind of understanding, some of the cravings don't always, it's not like a steady craving. They kind of come in waves. Your body's still getting acclimated to, hey, you're not feeding me.
Right.
I'm
starving.
I'm guilty of saying it myself sometimes. I'm starving. I'm like,
you're not starving. I promise.
Not at all.
You're just hungry. You're mostly just dehydrated.
But yeah, then you get into that period of autophagy, and that's when you really start to, the body starts to work. That's where you're starting to see the benefits of it, what we're really chasing.
Right.
And to hit on water and electrolytes, during this whole period, it's not like you can do a dry fast. I know that's a thing. I'm more of the a fan of keeping water on board and electrolytes.
Yeah.
But there's purposes for all of it.
With the Genesis swag.
Get a little plug for Genesis Healthcare there.
There you go.
But I think it's important, to make sure you're taking care of hydration. You're doing those things that allow your body to keep working the way it should. And then you get into even more extended fast, and then it's like everything ramps up, right? I mean, your body really doesn't have food to eat, so it's really going to work. That's when you can see lipolysis. Fat
burning.
Fat burning. But you start to see those benefits in that longer period. I mean, you start to think, from that 12 to 24 hour period, or even 48 hours,
Right.
whatever it may be. Just the extended periods of time are going to help you with fat loss and things of those nature. So, just
It really kicks in around that 30 to 36 hour
Yep,
of
absolutely.
the fat burning. Right?
Absolutely.
And people are like, well, I can't do that. I'm like, well, you actually can.
You absolutely can.
People fasted for days and weeks
Absolutely.
by necessity.
Yep.
Not till the last, just 100 years
Yep.
did we start eating as much as we ate.
Breakfast, lunch, dinner.
Breakfast, lunch. Yeah, breakfast is the most important meal of your day. And I'm like, yeah, it should be around 8 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
So anyway,
No, I
so
think it's
yeah,
great.
so you're going into the gut microbiome health and restoration of the microvilli
Absolutely.
in the gut. And so
Absolutely.
I'm sorry to
No,
interrupt,
that's great. I mean, getting it, like I said, those extended fasts, you get there, you're reaping the benefits, and then, you've allowed those tight junctions in the gut to heal. I mean, they're tight again. They're
Right.
not letting leaky gut,
Oh, yeah.
it's not happening.
Another buzzword.
TikTok, leaky gut.
Yeah, right.
Probably is. But once you've allowed that gut lining to repair, we also want to be cognizant of not destroying the benefits of what we just did.
Right.
Breaking a fast. I think it's really important that we talk about that. It's not a good idea to go down to
Having your way right away.
Bojangles,
Yeah.
and nothing against you Bojangles, but
Yeah.
don't want to break it with a spicy chicken biscuit.
Right.
Because you've negated a lot of the benefits of what you've done, as far as the gut. As far
And
as
the inflammatory process
absolutely.
of just all the oil that you're going to get
Absolutely.
in there. And
Just spike it right back
everything
up. But you start to, avoiding those foods, and you want to add on, I love breaking the fast. I love bone broth. I'll drink bone broth like it's coffee. I'll put salt in it and heat it up. I mean, it's like a soup.
Yeah.
That's what I personally do. Eggs. And you also don't want to overdo it with a huge content of fat or even protein. I mean, you want protein, but you don't have to overdo it when you're breaking it.
Right.
So I think it's important to kind of think about what you're going to break the fast with. And I'm sure you've talked about that with patients as well. I like I said, I use the bone broth as my go-to because it's healing to the gut.
I'll even use olive oil a lot of times.
Great one.
As far as being able to help people stay in a fasted state.
It's actually it's fantastic.
And so, like some people are like, man, I'm just really, I just don't know if I can do it. And so I'll say, well, just take a shot of olive oil about every 24 to 30 hours. And then they go, that's disgusting. I'm like, do you know how disgusting Frenchy fries are?
Oh yeah. Oh.
For your body. I mean, do they taste good? Yeah. Monosodium glutamate is a fantastic flavor, right? But what's really crazy is it's like, oh, that's disgusting. I'm like, do you know how many times throughout Scripture it's talked about,
absolutely,
eating certain foods and avoiding and fasting?
Yep.
Right.
Absolutely.
And so, I just think that we get into this touchy-feely with our food,
Sure.
and instead of let's actually go after food as a fuel source.
Absolutely.
And when you get to where you're super healthy and you're doing your thing, you can have a little bit more freedom.
Sure.
Absolutely. My son makes fun of me because we just went on a little trip with them, and he said, I've never seen somebody eat that much ice cream. I was like, you know what? It's ice cream.
on vacation.
So yeah, so I put on some LBs, eating some ice cream, and my belly was paying it. I mean, I was hurting. So when I got off the boat, actually, I was like, all right, I got to shut it down.
Fasting.
Well, I did. I just had to just shut down all the carbs and I even tell people, like, from a carb standpoint, speaking of carbs, is eat carbs that are in season.
Absolutely. It's a great point.
People say, well, I can't just eat meat. I can't do carnivore. Well, if you don't want to, that's one thing. If you can't, is totally different. So you totally can. It's just how you frame it. But what I like to tell people is, eat fruit when it's in season.
Absolutely.
Eat vegetables when they're in season, and fortunately, we live in a very good climate here that you can get a lot of things in season.
Sure.
And then I'll even go to a term called toteable.
Okay.
Eat food that's toteable. You can tote it around.
I like it. I mean,
if it rots, you should eat it in season. Like if you tote some root vegetables, like a carrot or a radish or a sweet potato or potatoes, things that grow, onions, things that can grow underground,
Sure.
you can eat those pretty much year round because they're toteable. You can tote them cross country, right? So, you can't tote kale.
Oh gosh, yeah.
I don't know. I don't even know what a kale is, but I eat it because they told me it was good for me. But yeah, I mean, like eating things like that are coming in season is a super important thing for me. And then just avoiding like the man-made foods and eat what God made.
Absolutely.
It's so much more important, I think, for our overall health is just obey what God said for us.
Absolutely. I mean, I think you start to think of the foods that are mentioned in the Bible, and it's, I'm going grapes and figs, and I mean, different things. There's just all kinds of olive oil.
Beef.
Beef. Lamb.
What's for dinner?
I mean, you get, but he told you what to eat. And I find myself as I get older, I mean, I really am trying to lean more into that and eat those foods. I mean, I love eating grapes, I like figs.
Right.
I saw them at the grocery store one day. I'm like, that's a fig? I'm like, I don't know, it looks kind of weird, but I like them.
Yeah.
But I just think it's cool, like when you utilize those foods, and it all makes sense. Those foods he gave us.
Right.
We haven't destroyed those. I'm sure we've tried, or maybe we have to a point.
Well, we've done a pretty good job. Really, a lot of the destruction of a lot of foods is when do you reap fruit?
Sure.
Certain times of the year in certain places in the world. And so if you get a fig here locally, it's typically going to be in late summer and early fall. A lot of the fig trees around here will produce a couple times a year, and that's nice. And I've got some fig trees, and I like figs. Right? The bees really like it too. So if you get some figs on the ground and you start stepping around there, the yellow jackets will tear your hind end up.
That's good to know. I'm anaphylactic to yellow jackets.
Yeah. I'm anti-pain from yellow jackets. Yeah. So I don't like the yellow jacket. Yeah. I don't even like Georgia Tech because they're named after the yellow jackets. So
you talked about coming off of a fast, best practices. Have you talked about preparing?
yeah, let's get into that.
Okay.
So
You just want to jump into that?
Yeah. So when you come out of a fast, it's super important to not put the trash back on board, to kind of keep the fuel going, or the senescent cells at bay, and the dying cells dying, keep them dying. So a lot of people are going to be worried about going into a fast, and like, how do we prepare our body to go into a fast? So like, I don't want to use like the extreme, like insulin dependent diabetic going into a fast. More of like, us common folk, right? Like that don't have a lot of, we got a little insulin resistance, and we're not on any meds, but we're really just preparing our body to go into a fast. Could you just
Absolutely.
help some folks out with that?
It's a great point. It's very important. Like anything, right? And I relate this to sports again. You're preparing for a game. Right? You're getting the body primed to go do what it has to do. So leading up to it, eating, maybe it's a lot of protein, a lot of good fats, a lot of clean foods. I mean, you can start those things before you jump into the fast. So you're cleaning up your diet. Essentially, is what I'm going for. Really hydrating. Lots of good. We talk about mineral salts, Endura packets. If you have to have a little flavor, if you want
They'll
that.
start making them
If they'll
again.
start
Apparently we can't find them. So
love that. There's a plug for Metagenics there.
right.
But just really hydrating. I say super hydrating the body. Again, like a game,
Right.
getting myself ready. Like I said, proteins. I'm always going to be kind of like you. I'm a fan of beef. I make it very simple for myself. I try to make it simple for patients.
Right.
I'm like, I will eat chicken, but I am not a fan of it. I'm not even really a fan of pork. I mean, I'll eat barbecue every now and then, but just not my favorite.
Right.
But if that is what someone has to do, I try to work with them. But like I said, eating good proteins, kind of starting to dial back the carbs. And these, like you said, this is for, we're calling normal folk, like you said. So it's starting to dial back those things. You're already kind of preparing the body as far as blood sugar and insulin to get ready for that game that's coming up.
And a lot of people are talking a lot about like going into doing like a carnivore diet.
Absolutely.
And I think that's kind of gaining a little traction and a lot of fad work out there. And some people think that carnivore is eating meat and still, having their latte in the morning, or whatever they may have. But I like a dirty carnivore type diet, which is basically whole foods.
Yeah.
Now, dirty carnivore to me is not, it's not a meat and Snicker bar. That's
right.
That's not carnivore at all, right? But a whole foods is more of like a dirty carnivore, or walking into a fast of things that your body doesn't have to really, because what happens is you go into kind of a flu-like feeling, not like you're sick with the flu, but like achy. After you shut it down, and you're trying to kind of detox and cleanse like a lot of the carbs, the trash foods that we have, and the high glycemic index foods like bread and pastas and things like that. I mean, going into a fast, I would not go to your favorite Italian restaurant the night before and be like, all right, I'm going to shut her down tomorrow, because I think you're not going to like it.
Absolutely.
First of all, when I carb up like in the next day, I'm hungry.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Right? I'm not starving. I'm hungry. Right? I'm just like, wow, my body wants some carbs. Right? So carbs, like, crave carbs, but the more you kind of walk into, I like to intermittent fast most every day. I mean, like I'll just give you my what I like to do. So I wake up, drink 16 ounces of water with a little bit of mineral salt, just to start hydrating my body. Then I will, I'll hit the showers, get ready, and then I'll come to work. Some days I'll do black coffee only, and it's not trash beans; it's good beans. I tell people I drink my bougie beans, right? So I get some good beans, and I'll drink the coffee, and then there's no food at all while I'm seeing patients that morning and into the afternoon. A lot of times it's 4 or 5 o'clock before I eat my first calorie.
I mean, I see you do that every day.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
there's some times though, like on Saturdays or Sundays, Trish and I'll have we'll have breakfast together, and it may be we'll just cook eggs, right?
Absolutely.
So she asked me just about every time. She's like, "How many eggs do you want?" I was like, "I want the same amount of eggs every time. I want 6 eggs," and I douse that with some good mineral salt, and I just eat eggs.
Yeah.
you know, and drink water, maybe a cup of coffee, and have a nice fellowship with my wife before we go to church or something like that, or out the door to the farm. But most every day it's and what's crazy about that, Ben, is I'm not hungry.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I'm not a little guy, and I'm not hungry.
Sure.
Right? I don't crave food. I don't crave carbs. I don't crave all of those things. But when I do eat, you know, obviously I eat.
Sure.
Right? So
Yeah.
I'll eat 6 eggs for a protein source. If I do that in the morning, typically I won't eat for a long time. And that kind of breaks the cycle of that intermittent fasting, because I'm eating in the morning and I won't eat again until the evening.
Yeah.
A lot of times, or I'll go buy my nut and seed bar at the house, and I'll just kind of grab some tree nuts or some seeds. Yes, you know, there's some carbs in there, but typically they're healthier carbs and healthier fats, and so I'll grab that and go if I come through middle of the day, and if I'm not, I just don't. I just drink water, you know, and so. A lot of that, and people say, well, you've got more willpower than I do. Well, I created the willpower.
Yeah, absolutely. You build that, right?
And that's what I think a lot of people really don't get is you can create the willpower to not crave carbohydrates.
100%.
I love eating carbohydrates.
Yes, absolutely.
Right? I mean, when I was eating ice cream on the boat, I was like, I want some more ice cream.
I want to keep eating it.
Until my belly was like, you're not going to have any more ice cream. But the carbs were just kind of I was just craving and craving more carbohydrate because, you know, when my blood sugar would spike and then it would crash. And it would spike and it would crash because that's what's happening. When you're riding the top of the wave, you feel great. When you're on the mountaintop, when you're falling down, you don't feel good. And you want the feel-good hormone of like a dopamine release of eating, and then that sugar craving, and it's just like, oh yeah, that's it.
Oh, yeah.
Until it's gone. And then you need another
Chasing it again.
And so, you know, I see that over and over and over with patients. Like, I don't feel, I don't this. And I'm like, well, we'll just teach you how to break the habit.
Absolutely.
Right? Or the need. And I'll tell you, have you ever worn a glucose monitor?
I have.
It's super eye-opening to me.
Very, very cool. And we, you know, patients don't always get to hear these conversations when we're upstairs, and there's some good conversations and that we share with each other, and it's pretty cool. You know, we talk about testing it out, giving it a test run.
Oh yeah. I spun the tires with it, baby.
And it's eye-opening, especially in, you know, we're guys. We may be a little more visual, like, you know, we see something in front of us, that's when it's real. And I'm like that. I mean, when I saw my blood sugar spike, I'm like, oh, that's what it does. And I feel like I'm relatively healthy. Like I felt like, you know, my body should be able to take in carbs, but man, it's eye opening. I think I ate a bowl of cereal one day. I just wanted to test it.
Yeah.
Milk and cereal. My goodness.
I was a staple for all of us that grew up in the 80s and 90s, right? Bowl cereal. I mean, you know, Cheerios, heart healthy.
I don't think I've had a bowl of cereal since, honestly. I don't think I've ate it since.
It scares the crap out of you when you look at a continuous glucose monitor, and you know there's multiple ones out there now, and they're accessible to people. I mean, like you could go online and look up continuous glucose monitor. Pop it on your arm, link it to your phone, and you can't get away from it. Well, I got away from mine because I kept knocking them off. I had problems walking down halls without hitting the walls or something. Man, but yeah, I the first time I did it, Ben, I put a Dexcom on, and so I literally was like, you know, I'm going to see what this thing can do. I'm going to see how badly I can eat and perform unhealthily to the point to where I want to see how high I can spike this. So yeah, we get a bunch of peaches from Stanley's Produce, and so my wife, we do some freeze dry stuff, and so we got so many boxes of peaches from them one time. They said, hey, we're going to give you this really healthy fried pie. Right? I'm like, Well, it's going to be good, right? So it's gave Trish this fried pie, and it was made with coconut oil and coconut flour and all of this stuff, right? And sugar.
Oh yeah.
Right. So it sits over here on the counter for a couple days, and then I get home one day after work, and it's I haven't eaten, right, in my fasted state, and it's about 3 o'clock, right? So I'm like, you know what? My blood sugar has not moved all day.
Okay.
All right,
Okay.
all day. So I look at it, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna try a fried pie.
About to break my fast.
So I went Corvette style. I went 0 to 60 in 4 seconds, right? And I spun the tires, and it went to 170.
Oh man,
Just like that.
automatically.
170. And I was like, woo! That was quick, man. My glucose went straight up. And guess what I did 10 minutes later? I went in and took a nap.
Absolutely.
I crashed.
Yep.
I mean, I was struggling to stay awake. So there's so many people, like I tell people this all the time, like my number one diagnosis that I hear from people is I'm tired.
Absolutely.
The fatigue,
Yep.
right? You know, I just got, you know, I have problems waking up in the morning, or I have problems staying awake after, 10 o'clock in the afternoon, or I need a snack, or I needed this, or, I'm struggling to stay awake at 3
Sure.
o'clock in the afternoon. And when I get home, I just want to sit on the couch and do this and do that. And I'm like, I understand.
Sure.
Because I
Felt
ate
it.
like that. And I went to sleep. I mean, like, I don't nap. And I took a nap, like a good one, right? So I took some good naps that week. But I was watching it, and my blood sugar looked like the Rocky Mountains. It'd spike, fall, sleep, spike, fall, sleep.
You start chasing.
And so, it was really eye-opening for me, because as a clinician, as a provider for people who come in with those complaints, I know now.
Absolutely.
I knew a long time ago, right? Because I got raised by the city too. But I did. I looked at it and I was like, man, I can't believe this is the way people live their life.
Sure. They get used to feeling that way.
Right. And they get used to feeling, exactly. They get used to feeling
scary.
that way. But such a struggle that week. But and what's crazy, when you said, when you break your fast with protein, I did that several times. And I just did like a protein lunch. And then that evening would spin the tires with a carbohydrate meal, like even like a typical American diet meal.
Okay.
And my blood sugar wouldn't spike.
You put the protein on board
Put
first.
the protein on board first.
Yep. That's great.
And so I
timing.
kind of stayed into a semi, not really a semi-ketotic state, but I really did not have the glucose burning from the food.
Sure.
It still had to break that down and catabolize that meal and make it more of a ketotic state and make the liver do its job.
Absolutely.
So it really made my system work better by breaking my fast with protein and fat.
Absolutely.
And that's one of the reasons why I use, olive oil as a boost. I mean, it's a great fat, super healthy.
It gives you some kind of fuel, right, to kind of get through it. I think it's great. That's actually something I will try next time I fast.
And I'll tell you something else too, from an olive oil standpoint. A little pearl that I've used is olive oil before bedtime will keep you asleep. May not put you to sleep, but it'll keep you asleep. It'll keep you from spiking your glucose in the middle of the night, or your cortisol.
Yeah.
Basically stimulating the liver for gluconeogenesis and all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
But it keeps your cortisol low and keeps you from spiking and waking up in the middle of the night.
Makes perfect sense.
Because your blood sugar spike, falling.
And we had talk about that with people when they eat too late, and then they said and it's high carb meals. They've started that cycle, and you're in for a fun night.
Yeah. So fasting is a super important thing for us theologically, super important thing for us physiologically, from like I said earlier, you're on the struggle bus today because you got some sort of crazy pneumonia, and you fought through today to come down here to discuss fasting. Yeah, that's right. We're not quitters around here, that's for sure. So I want to thank you for your heart. I want to thank you for being a part of Genesis and serving the community, and actually being smart enough to leave Alabama and come to Tennessee.
Well, I won't go into that last part. I'm just kidding. But no, I really am. It's a blessing to be here. Thank you for trusting me to take care of patients here at Genesis. I love it. Stuff. So this is I get to serve people. I get to coach people. Get to love on them. I mean, that's what they don't always love us back when we're trying to get them to fast. But no, right. I do think people appreciate our approach, especially when they know our heart and know what we're after.
Well, thanks again. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Rules of fasting.
Okay.
What's allowed?
Yeah. So it's cutting out carbs. We're cutting out sugar. So that's, you're drinking water, you're drinking mineral salts, black coffee, depending on whether you want to do a protein sparing fast. I guess I'm getting in the tangent there. Sorry. But it's you want to say it's no food at all, or how do you want
to? I would go no food.
Okay, because you protein sparing fast, you can still have protein, but cutting out everything else. But
we can dive into that too.
Okay.
So
yeah, rules of fasting. Like I said, it's no food. You're taking everything off board. It's black coffee. I know that makes everybody upset. Not having the cream. It's water. It's mineral salt. That's it.
Right. Not a Tic Tac.
No, sir.
Not a piece of chewing gum. Toothpaste has a lot of sugar in it. So you have to look at everything you put through your mouth.
Yes, sir.
And you got to go, how many calories are in that? A calorie is a no-no.
Absolutely.
Right? And so that's going to be our fast.
Yep.
Now you can do, like we were talking about, the protein fast, and fasting from carbohydrates.
Yes, sir.
So could you give the rules of a carnivore non-carbohydrate fast?
Yeah, so the idea, obviously, very simple, cutting out all carbohydrates, and I make this as simple as possible. You're eating protein, and some fats in there if you want some eggs. I like to incorporate eggs, but beef if you want to make it simple. Eggs, water, mineral salts, black coffee.
Right.
Nada after that.
I will say I'm not a big fan of pork during a protein fast because of the inflammatory properties that you can get with pork. Sure. I'm also not a fan of chicken because of the way we raise chickens.
Absolutely.
I tell people that it takes God 12 weeks to raise a chicken. It takes man 5.
It's kind of scary.
And man's chicken is about 3 times the size of God's. Right. So I eat pre-chickens. Those are called eggs, right? And so I like pre-chicken and beef, and all ruminant animals are really more healthy for you, and are actually spoken about throughout Scripture more so than others. Sure. And so that's something that should be very relatable to us when we're in a fast is how we relate that to what God's design is.
Absolutely.
So a lot of people think that fasting is difficult, and they're right.
Absolutely.
They're absolutely right. And so when you have that sugar crave, it's hard to break it.
It is.
Super hard to break it. But when you do break it and you start teaching yourself how to go into a dirty carnivore, then into a carnivore, then into a fast, or into an intermittent fast, or you're breaking the crave of the carb load or the carb craving, or the glycolic state, as I like to say it.
Absolutely.
When you break it, it becomes so much easier to stay in it.
Absolutely.
And you stay into a ketotic state. It's almost a high that you get when you're in a ketotic state. It's like you get mental clarity.
Yes, sir.
You don't have the brain fog. You get the work. And people will say, well, my blood sugar will drop too low. I get a little hypoglycemic, which is one of my pet peeves. I'm like, hypoglycemic? Well, don't create high glycemic, right? If you don't go high, you can't go low, right? So, if you think about how people lived for thousands of years, right? Now, this is not the poor dirt farmer that just sat around, waiting on his next meal. We had legions of armies that walked and marched for days and fought without food.
Absolutely. A lot of those tribes or people where they believed in that fasting prepared them for battle, right? So it's
right.
The clarity you mentioned. I mean, it helps you lock in.
Right.
And cool.
Yeah, and so people say, well, my blood sugar will get too low. I was like, well, just because you're eating, jelly donuts and it's getting too high.
It will feel low.
That's right. So it's so much easier for me to stay in a fasted state.
Sure.
Now that I've kind of broken a carb loading lifestyle and diet. And it's it's freeing. It's super freeing to me.
Absolutely. I think it's important too. Like I kind of relate this to I got 2 young children now, and like it's cool when you see, like when I see my little boy when he and you had kids and stuff. I'm sure you saw it too. Like when they accomplish something, and it may be something very little, keeping their balance on something. It's really cool. Like that's the same feeling he gets from doing that is the same feeling like when you beat that craving from you should celebrate that little victory.
Yeah.
Like this is a big deal for you. If you've had a bad relationship with food and it's affected your life and your health, like it's a big deal. Like I think it's cool to celebrate those little wins. Like, hey, I beat that craving. Heck, I still do it myself.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
you don't celebrate it with ice cream.
I don't celebrate it with ice cream, no. but it's cool. It's so like that's a small victory. Like I think now maybe in life in general, we don't take time to celebrate those things.
Sure.
Throughout life or whatever, but celebrate that small little victory. If you beat a craving, like that's we talk about. That's hard to break. I mean, that's an addiction.
It is. And food journals are super great for that too.
It's a great idea.
It's just writing things down and looking at it, and that continuous glucose monitor just pinging you and be like, "I told you so. I told you so. I told you so."
You can relate.
So,
I think that's cool, and I don't utilize that enough with patients. A food journal and tying it back. So that's a great.
It is. I love the food journal with the CGM or the continuous glucose monitor because it's just you can't get away from it.
Sure.
It's just like. That's it. That's exactly why I got that. So yeah, it's super important to me for people to get the data so that I'm not the most important person in their life for their health. They are.
Absolutely.
Because it truly is not my health.
Sure.
It's their health. Absolutely. It's your health that we're striving to improve, not mine.
And you're going to do the work. You're going.
People, and people like to defer that off to you and go, well, you can do it because you. I was like, well, okay, well, I do it for my health. You do it for your health, not for me.
Yeah, you're
right.
Right.
It's like cheating on labs, right? You come in here starving yourself for 14, 16 hours and be like, my labs look really good today. Pat myself on the back. Joe's going to be proud. I'm like, all right. I really don't care about how great your labs look after you fasted. Let's look at them after you ate breakfast.
Let's see.
Let's see what that insulin level is there. So anyway, and that's something that I do want you to also hit a little bit on as far as like how important lab work is.
Yes.
Before
Huge.
Before going through a program like fasting or nutritional health or weight loss or any of those things.
Absolutely.
And how we've kind of let people down in that regard. Even.
Absolutely. With anything, right? You want data. You want to be able to see this is where I was, this is where I'm at now. And lab work is imperative, and that's that's getting your, I call them physical labs, but your CBC, your CMP, your lipid profile, insulin. Talk about insulin. Should be tested everywhere, but a lot of times it's not, and it gives us more valuable data a lot of times than A1C. I mean, those are all great and helpful, but Love seeing an insulin level. Checking your urine, making sure you're not peeing any sugar or anything like that.
Right.
We talk about upstairs often, inflammatory markers, HSCRP, SED rate. I mean, all those,
Homocysteines.
the homocysteines.
Yep.
Because then when you have those and you have that data, and then you incorporate these things and that's CGM, fasting, exercise, everything. Then you get to see, this is what it did for me.
Yeah, and I think it goes back to what you said, is you get to celebrate the victories when you see the data improve.
Absolutely. Yep.
And what's really cool to me is when these 60 and 70-year-old people are like, well, Mama always did it this way.
Yep.
And they feel like that they just can't change.
Sure.
And literally, like, we can change our data, our lab values, and our inflammatory markers, and our health almost overnight.
I agree. I mean, we've talked about it with patients. You've done 7 days worth of fasting or even carnivore type diet, and they come back and everything's flipped.
Yeah,
like, it's amazing.
Yeah,
I love sharing those stories when I'm in with a new patient, and then
without medication.
Without medication, I love it, and I'm like, I get excited for them because I'm like, man, if you trust this,
yeah,
we can get you there. I just think it's cool. Those are wins for us too.
Right. I mean, from a coaching background, I mean, it's really cool to see when you're coaching somebody up and you see the data change and you see them improve, and you're like, see, I told you. Right?
Just trust, man.
Yeah, I like the I told you so. Right? See, I told you so. I told you you could win.
I start using that one more.
Yeah, I told you could win. Yeah, so it really is. I love to see success in people. I love to see their eyes come back and go,
yeah,
I feel amazing.
Feel awesome.
Right.
Lost weight.
And I can do things like that with and without medications.
Absolutely.
I mean, medications are just a bridge to your health.
Yeah.
So I love that. I love the opportunity. So
I agree.
Thanks for tuning in to the Genesis Healthcare Podcast, empowering you to live optimally. Ready to take the next step? Visit thegenesisdifference.com today to learn more.